Welcome back, fellow scrubs. It's good to be back. So this is the first Pocket Fighter EX stream in a while. If you were out of the whoop, I worked a little too hard and got in kind of a health debt, so I had to pay it back. I had to pay the Sandman back for all the lost hours. But I'm back. I'm feeling pretty good. And so we're gonna continue doing the streams now every Monday, just like we used to, right now at 8 p.m. So everything's back to normal, pretty much. And so we're it's gonna be a warm-up stream. We just got to get back into it. I haven't worked on this in so long, and it's been killing me. I've been wanting to do stuff with this for so long, but I had to rest, and that meant not working. So that sucked. But we're back! Hooray! So Pocket Fighter EX is a community-based game. It is not for sale. It is not licensed. It's not affiliated with Capcom or SNK or anybody else. Just a free fan game, by fans, for fans, etc. Gotta get that out of the way. So we're back. Right where we left off. Actually, there's a little bit of stuff that I've been doing in the meantime, and I'll go over that too. But for the most part, everything's pretty much the same. Just, same old Pocket Fighter EX, that kind of stuff. I did fix a lot of issues with... Oh, that ain't gonna work. Hold on, let's try that again. No! Oh no, something broke. So, and this might also be because of this change. So I've made the hitboxes and the frame data and everything a lot more consistent than they have been. So if you remember last time, eons ago, when we were doing the streams before, we kind of left off on this whole determinism thing, and making sure that the game is consistent. So if you have like a replay file, every time that replay is played, it'll be consistent every time, no matter if it's on the computer, on Windows, or... And I'm speculating here, I'm not confirming like a Linux build, but say like a Linux or a Mac build is going to run differently, just based on the way that computer math works, and that's a whole other friggin' thing I won't go into right now. But it's very inconsistent. Even different processors, like between AMD or Intel, they compute things differently. They have different optimizations, and for decimal numbers specifically, what we call floating point values, those can be calculated slightly differently, and that can make a big difference. So if you do 10 calculations with floating points, you get like a small error every time, and that can compound through those 10 multiplications, additions, or whatever it happens to be, and that can add up, and then all of a sudden on frame 14,036 that hitbox just wasn't close enough to actually hit when it should have, or something hit that shouldn't have, and now all of a sudden that can create a desync online and all that crazy crap. So that's kind of what we've been trying to remedy, and I've been sort of like formulating and theorizing, because I've not been able to like work on it, but I've been kind of able to think about it and discuss it a little bit. And so I do have updates along the lines of that, but as also a side effect, because the game wasn't quite as solid on the computations, now that the frame data that's in there might actually be wrong, or I adjusted something and added a frame of stun here or there to make a combo work that like it doesn't work now, because everything's actually computing much more closely the way that it's supposed to. And now these changes haven't been finalized yet. There's still a lot to do, but because it's much more accurate now, there's things that like I changed to make the inaccurate version more accurate, and so that's working against it, if that makes any sense. Correcting bad math, now the math is correct, but now those corrections are causing issues, I guess might be the easiest way to put that. So that's where we are, and so that hasn't really changed too much, but I have been working on building fixed math, which is the more accurate version of decimal math. You use fixed values instead of floating point values. And so I've been sort of rebuilding some of Unity's built-in components. So like if you see here, if we look at Ken, and if you've used Unity before, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's this transform up here, this component, and I'll just minimize all these, so they're not important at the moment. This transform component is basically, this is the position. So if we pause this, I can actually move this value, change this value, and it'll cause Ken to change location. And actually, it's because shadow and everything's all attached to it, which is kind of cool. But it also goes for scale and for rotation. Is all done here. So this is sort of your positioning, your world positioning. And it makes sense. So you want to know how big it is. You want to know where the center point of that object is affixed to. And you want to know, what's the orientation? Where is he facing in space? Because, like, Unity is a 3D engine, so if you want to look at it this way, the rotations go in all directions. So like in a 3D game, you want your character to face that way, sure. You change the y-axis rotation and that'll make him face a different direction. And then X is like flipping upside down. And I mean, it depends on how you set your stuff up, but that's typically in Unity is how it's working out. So you have that kind of issue where all of these are using floating point math. And that's bad. That's really bad because the transform is like Unity's core thing. You cannot not have this. You have to have a transform. And Unity bases a lot of its built-in features off of having that. And it makes sense. You want every entity in the game to have a position in space. Like like why wouldn't you? Like, it doesn't make sense. Even if it's negligible to have it, it's like, okay, it's like a few numbers, whoop-de-doo, just put it in there, standardize it, that way you're not missing anything when you really need it. And most 99.9% of objects are going to need it anyway. Even sound effects, if you think about it. Because you'll have, especially in 3D games, you want the sound effect to have a source in space. And so it also needs a position. So it all makes sense, it all works out, but the main problem here is that these transforms are not accurate. If I do a calculation on position and say I multiply the 1 times, I don't know, whatever, a decimal, and it doesn't, or not 1, I guess that wouldn't that wouldn't make sense. But you multiply 2 decimals together, or add a very small decimal to an existing position to move forward and backwards, it's not accurate. So you can't have that. So Graphica says, "Hey man, glad you're feeling a bit better. Thank you." I am so glad I am feeling a bit better myself. It's been awful, man. I've been sitting here just be like, I want to sit down and I want to do game dev shit, but it's killing me and I can't, and that sucks. But it's not killing me anymore. I'm exaggerating, obviously, and not in mortal danger, thank God. But had I not stopped to rest, it could have accumulated to that. I mean, you talk about, like, sometimes, like, the Japanese have the work death, where they work so hard and they work so many hours that they literally just die. So, continuing along that path, maybe I would have ended up there, and that's not good. So, that's how that goes. If I'm dead, I guess I can't work at it anyway, right? So I might as well stay alive so that I can at least do something, even if I have to crawl at a snail's pace. I'd rather do that. So in the light of, okay, transform doesn't work right. Yeah, Karoshi, is that it? Karoshi? So in light of transform being inaccurate, so what do you do about that? Like, okay, it's built into Unity. What now? The unfortunate answer is you kind of have to recreate all the things that Unity is doing for you and using some kind of fixed math library or fixed math solution to get what you want out of it. And that sucks because it takes a lot of the things that are in Unity and makes them just bad to use for this kind of thing. So you'll have sort of 2 different versions of the program running so to speak. I guess maybe that's the best way to put it. But the program will be separated into, you can trust this math for this part of the program, and then you can't trust the math for the other part of the program. So you'll see, and I'm going to pull up another thing, because I did this one on Thursday a couple months back in place of the normal Retro Mansion game, because again, it's all relevant, where that game is likely going to get these same deterministic components too. But this has been my testing ground, sort of like the the unofficial restart of Hamster Drop. So if you don't know, Hamster Drop is a mobile game that I did I formed a studio, got together a bunch of excellent, top of the line developers. We all got together and we banged out a really great looking, awesome playing game. And it was a mobile game, so it didn't do too well, if you can believe that. So that sucked. So it kind of like fell to the wayside. And I always thought about, maybe we could port it to Unity or whatever. We built our own engine for it, so it's kind of like locked to what it was. But if we were going to re-release it now, we would want to do, just put it in Unity. It makes it so much easier to port to different platforms and such. But that's a whole other story. Anyway, so I'm using those assets to kind of dink around with doing transform fixed. So fixed being the accurate math solution. And there's a reason why one's called floating point, one called fixed point. I'm not going to bother getting into that. I've talked about that before. But just know that fixed is the correct math solution, or the more correct math solution. At least it's consistent, if anything. And no matter if it's on Intel processor or AMD processor, or I'm not saying that we're going to put Pocket Fighter EX on Android, but just saying, if you put it on like an Android operating system, the math again is going to be different with floating point. But fixed math is always the same on every platform. So it's the best way to get complete cross-platform compatibility, everything. Like, so all the versions will run exactly the same. And that's great. That's what you want to do. So I said, screw it, I'm going to make my own transform with blackjack and hookers, and we'll take a look as to what that actually looks like. And it's not complete yet. Like I said, I haven't really had a lot of time to work on this. But the idea is that it will eventually become a complete full replacement for transform in Unity. And so here we've got these things called Fix64. So that's a library that I picked up, fixedmath.net. And that basically gives you, trusted decimal operations that, are not going to screw up between different platforms. And then I had to go through and literally start recreating stuff that Unity already does. So you have vector 3s. Yeah, well, guess what? They're floats. So now I have to make my own Fix64 vector 3 and a Fix64 vector 2. And you see how this snowballs real quick. And so this is okay, so like you have like dot forward, dot right. So yeah, a lot of these ones will say not implemented. And it'll give back like a default value. I'm not really sure what forward means so much in terms of this, but I'm not using 3D, so I just kind of threw that in there and left it, and I marked them as placeholders. So you'll see a lot of that here, and that'll get filled in over time as needs arise and all that. So like scale, it's going to serialize this local scale value, but you don't see it in the inspector, because it actually has its own what do they call it? Property drawer or editor drawing, so that these fields are created on their own with a different set of code. So it's funny because like this scale here is not really the same thing. Like this gets serialized, but this doesn't draw, because see, this is called underscore local scale, and this is called scale. They don't even have the same name, but it's because they're masking. The name is getting changed when it draws to the property, and I'll show that in a minute. But then I have like these local ones, and then if you get the lossy scale, that's your local and world space. So all right, just to go over this quick, because not everybody knows what all that means. So you have the sprite here, right? And that's the character here. And it's got like their body sprite and whatever. But you can say the transform for the trampoline. I can move that, right? And I can rotate it. And so because it's a child object of player, if I move the player itself, then that moves everything that's attached to it. So here's the thing though. If I want to, yeah, actually let's put this out here. If I rotate this 45 degrees and then I rotate the player negative 45 degrees, obviously they cancel each other out, right? So the local rotation is 45 degrees on the z-axis, but the world rotation, meaning the rotation you actually end up seeing through the camera in the scene, is 0 because they've counteracted each other. So the world rotation is the ultimate final calculation of what you would see in the game's camera. Because you're looking over here, like this is the game camera here, and you can see, yeah, it's not rotated, it's straight left and right. But the character's rotated. So the local rotation here is negative 45, which counteracts the local rotation of 45 here, which adds up to being 0. Like, you know what I mean? So world rotation is like the final calculation, and then local rotation is like, what is it if you were just to think about that object in its own space, in its own environment? What would those values be? So right now, eventually we're going to have to change this, but right now you can only change the local scale. So you can get that value through this property, or you can set that value, and then it'll attempt to update Unity's transform with the value that you've entered. But the lossy scale is calculated differently, so you can't set this one yet. In Unity you can, so I'm going to have to figure out exactly how they're doing that. But if it's got a parent, then it's got to check what's the parent scale, and then multiply it by itself, and it gives you back, it does the full calculation, and it'll step up. If you have 10 objects parenting each other, it will have to step through 10 parents to get the scale, which sends it back to here in the parent, and it's like, oh, we got a parent, okay, we need to check with the parent, which goes back here, oh, you got a parent, we got to check with the parent, and it calculates all the scales and stacks them all up. It multiplies them down the chain. Well, hopefully that explanation makes sense. So to reverse that, I'm assuming that you would have to divide them or something, but I didn't really look into it too much. I wasn't too concerned with that at the moment. I wanted at least the local scale. I think that one's the more important of the two anyway, at least for now. So I did this on all of them, and all of these are fixed, these vector 3 fixed 64s. So they're not Unity's vector 3. And again, the fixed 64, like here for the X, Y, and Z, are fixed 64, and that's that fixed math decimal. So I can have decimals, but without it screwing up on different platforms. And so I have basically just been on a binge of recreating what Unity does, and some stuff's not in, like I said, but we're getting there. So this is like, you have to do everything. Like, are these two the same? Well, you have to compare the X, Y, and Z, and in return whether they're the same or not, because that's the comparison operator of these things, two things equal, or these things not equal. Like multiplication, literally have to tell it how to multiply and divide these things because it doesn't know. Addition and subtraction, like all that operator, it's got to be from the ground up recreated, and that way it can seamlessly just kind of fit in and act and pretend that it's a vector 3 and do all the things a vector 3 can do. But you've got a little casting too, so this gets you from a vector 3 to vector 2, or normal vector 3. You can say I want to take the fixed one, turn it into a normal vector 3, then Unity can use it for its operations, because Unity has no idea what a vector 3 fixed 64 is. There's no concept of that, so you have to make that bridge between them, and it's complicated. It could arguably be very boring, but it's absolutely necessary, because without this, you're not going to be able to have positions you can trust. And if you can't trust the positions, then you're going to be screwed. Because you're like, after so much time, the hitboxes aren't going to be in the spot they're supposed to be. And maybe it's enough of a difference to matter, and maybe it's not enough of a difference to matter, but you think out of 1,000 games, if one thing goes wrong and screws up, and now the replay screws up, and the netcode screws up, and you get a desync, that's not acceptable. So it's worth going through all the hassle to do this. Good thing is, if I make this robust enough, I only have to do this once, and I don't have to do it again. But it's going to be pretty heavy modification. So to get into a little bit more advanced stuff here, we've got the player controller is actually using a mono behavior fixed. And so what that does, because if you use a normal mono behavior, you're like, oh yeah, they've already got preloaded some stuff in there, so you could say transform that position, you know, whatever. This is automatically stored in mono behavior, but notice this one is a fixed, transform fixed. So this fixed mono behavior sort of overwrites those additional things. And right now it just does a transform. It's actually not a lot to mono behavior's preloaded stuff, but I can do more with it. So if I make like a fixed version of, I don't know if I'd have to do this, but if I made a fixed version of what they call rigid body, because I think body's just something here you can do, right? Rigid body. Oh no, maybe they removed that. They might have removed that. There used to be a lot of preloaded stuff. Yeah, I'm alive. How about that? I'm alive. I'm kicking. Yeah, they don't seem to preload rigid body anymore in mono behavior. I thought they did before. But if I wanted to make something, yeah, science, bitch. If I want to make anything preloaded in here, I can just do like what I'm doing here. And so this will check every time you try to access this transform. It will check to say, hey, did we load it? And if not, let's go load it and then send it back. And then anytime you try to, even if it hasn't hit awake yet, because if you spawn something that's disabled, it won't even run the awake method. So this prevents, you don't want to just assign it in awake, because if you happen to spawn a pre-deactivated object and try to hit the transform, it'll bomb out. It'll be like, no, it's null. Can't do that. So I want to check every time I'm looking for this value to say, hey, did you load that? If not, please load it and then send it back. And if you loaded it, fine. Then it ignores this and it just sends it back. A very small price to pay for the convenience of that. But again, I can preload multiple things here to get loaded in, but the transform fixed has to be there. So I did make that a required component, because again, Unity expects transform to be there at all times. You can't even get rid of it in an object, at least not that I'm aware of. If there is a way to do it, it's really roundabout. So, and that becomes an inherited thing. So mono behavior becomes fixed mono behavior, and then I use that instead of inheriting from mono behavior. I use mono behavior fixed, and that automatically turns that script into requiring fixed transform and all that. So it's creating a very systematic way of getting all these deterministic aspects into the game as painlessly as possible, and to the point where you could literally just swap this out between mono behavior and mono behavior fixed, and transform acts so similarly that let's see, what is this? Oh, because this made this a vector 3 now, so it's upset with that. Where is that? Okay, hold on. Let me fix 64. So now that's not, well, I guess I'll do this vector 3 here, cast it back to it. So C transform pretty much just picked up where it left off. So if Now, because it's back to the Unity one that doesn't know what fixed 64 is, but if I go back to fixed, then the only thing that it's complaining about is this one, because it needs that fixed 64. It doesn't want it back as a vector 3. But you see how it's pretty much interchangeable. It acts the same way. You can get the local position, you can set the local position. All of it's just is what it is. You don't have to worry about it. So that's the goal, to make it as interchangeable as possible, so that I just come in and I say, oh, is mono behavior? Alright, mono behavior fixed. Boom. Change a few casts and away we go, for the most part. You know, it's a very hot swappable kind of thing. So obviously you're going to want to change some of your math, some of your values are going to have to change to fix 64 and whatever, but it, you know, it is what it is when you're going from one to the other. But I want to make it as painlessly as possible, because I'm going to have to go back to Pocket Fighter here and be like, oh, okay, yeah, we have to change all of this stuff. So I have to need to make it as painless as possible. And if it has all the basic functions that I've been using with the Unity transform, and there's a parallel to that in the fixed, then it just slides right into place, and you're all set. So that's the goal. It's going to take a while to develop that stuff, but again, once I have it, that's it. I'm done. I got it. So we're good. And then I can use it for the Retro Mansion game to make that, you know, a tighter experience. So not that I'm going to add netplay to it. I'm probably not, because that would be a lot of work for that kind of project. I'm not planning on doing something like that. But if you want replays, or even, and I don't expect this necessarily, but part of the benefit of that is that you have the same experience on all platforms. So some of the new games today, if they tried to make like a TAS, a tool-assisted run, doesn't necessarily work on all games, especially like single-player ones. Now, because if you're using floating point variables, if you run that task on an Intel processor and you capture it there and then take it to an AMD processor, it's probably not going to work right. It's probably not going to calculate everything, frame drops and all that stuff. It's not consistently timed. There's differences in delta time and all that kind of stuff. That's delta meaning the change in time. So if I build, say, the Retro Mansion game to be consistent, always running at a fixed update interval, like, you could theoretically make a task for it and stuff like that. And I'm not expecting anybody to do that, but that's kind of like one example of like, that's why when not GDC, Jesus Christ, brain fart, what is it, GDQ, when they have TaskBot, they only use it on like old systems, because the old systems were clocked at a certain rate, and they were very deterministic. You know, they were mostly using fixed math, but that was for sort of a different reason. But you know, the older technology used a lot of fixed math and that kind of stuff. So there's one thing that you can do if you do this fixed math stuff that you can't otherwise. So there are, I don't want to say necessarily practical applications, but there are reasons that it's just nice to have that kind of thing. So, and if I get practiced using it here, then as I carry on and do more and more projects later, that sort of level of quality can travel with it. And I would very much like to aspire to do that. That would be nice. But if anybody does want to make like a TaskBot thing of a Retro Mansion game, that would be great. that would be wonderful. So either way, for the most part, it's going to have most impact on Pocket Fighter EX because of netplay and such. And you can see that this runs pretty smooth. All these rotations and like the objects following the other objects, this is all fixed math. So yeah, they're using decimal. You can see right here, they're using decimal values. Everything's going pretty normal. So here, transform here, see how it's following the other one. And I'll reset this one so you can see it because he's coming from the bottom. So you can change in X and Y. And it'll be the same every time that you run it. The same exact values. Given the same conditions, you know, the same position of the objects and such. It's all consistent. And so the rotation, again, will never fall out of sync. It will always rotate with the same values every single time. And there's something magical about that. Something mathematically OCD satisfying about that. So I've been doing just a lot of that stuff where, you know, just doing different formulas. Like the move towards function is a function of unity. I had to recreate that. That's what this object is using. So I use that to test that. The rotate around, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, that's a lot of what I've been working on. You know, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's also very, very, very important. And as long as I keep up and keep developing this stuff, you know, eventually we'll have a full tool set that we can just slide into Pocket Fighter EX. And sure, some stuff's going to get edited. It'll probably take a few weeks to, you know, make everything happy. But in the long run, this is absolutely going to be needed for GGPO. So that's a word I haven't said in a while. GGPO, the net play. If you don't have it, deterministic, GGPO is not going to work for you. It's just going to start desyncing on people, and who wants that? No one wants that. So that's the majority of what I've been working on. Oh yeah, LBRY. I was going to mention this. If you're watching this on YouTube instead of on Twitch live, we're on LBRY now, so GameDevScrubs is on LBRY. We only got 5 followers, so go over there and give me a follow. It would be great. Yeah, it's basically a mirror of the YouTube channel, and LBRY is a YouTube competitor in a way where it's run a little bit different. So I don't know if you ever use like the Brave browser and you've heard about like the BAT token, and you can like you can tip people on websites. Well, this is kind of like, you can see like right up here, you can tip people. This is like YouTube's with tips. And it's much nicer. They don't demonetize people. They don't kick people off. Like it's a really nice platform. Now that YouTube's shitting itself, this is a very, very good alternative. So I'm like, screw it. We'll sign up. It's great. So it automatically imported my whole YouTube channel, which is really good, and it's supposed to automatically mirror that on there. So anything on YouTube is going to be on here as well. So if this is more your cup of tea, if this is more your pace, I encourage you to check that out. And it's pretty cool. I like LBRY myself. I hope more people do move over to it because it's really good. So there's my little spiel on that. I meant to mention that earlier, but I just kind of got off on the tangent, and you know, that's how we normally do here, right? Let's see. Okay, here's what I want to get back to. So, I don't know if I mentioned this last time. I don't think so. This is one of the changes that I've made since I've been out. You might notice that the push boxes here, and that's the boxes that keep the fighters from moving into each other. They're shorter than they used to be, so there's a gap here. And the reason that I did that, number one, because I studied more Third Strike, the Holy Bible of fighting games, and I noticed that they were doing this, and I realized what it was for. And I noticed that my cross-up attacks were not working too properly. They were getting a little strange. They were acting a little strange in certain circumstances, and it's because those boxes were too high. Like, not all the animations have the lowered boxes. You see when I jab, it goes back up. So that's how you can tell how much was actually reduced. So I made the connection that Third Strike has lowered, and not just Third Strike, but most fighting games, they have lowered push boxes on the head, so you can get in deeper on your air hits, and especially for cross-up situations. Just like that. So it makes it a little more consistent to hit, so that you're not immediately pushed out of their vicinity, which can cause some really wonky issues that we were having. So I have to go and make sure that all the animations now are tuned up for that. Damn. I haven't played my own game in so long. No, that was... That can't be real. I don't think that was that. Yeah, I was gonna say, that shouldn't have hit. Anyway, I think he just landed and got hit again. Damn it. There we go. So I gotta go and I gotta make all the animations now shorter on their push boxes, because if you don't do that, you're gonna have that problem for all the characters. You know, when they're actually punching, a cross-up just won't work right. So I've got to go back and do all the push boxes in the game. But if I don't do that, it's not going to play very well. So, oh, look at that. That push box really thin too. That's an oversight. I must not have changed that when I was editing them the first time to make them a little bigger. That's funny. So yeah, I'll have to make note of that and get that fixed. But that's the basic idea of why I had to shorten them. And I'm not sure about the crouching. In fact, let's look that up now. Like I said, I haven't had a lot of time to think about this, so, or rather to really research and work on this. Sure, we'll just use this one. We've got third strike frame data. I'll look at Ryu. He's the standard, right? So, miscellaneous. Do we have like a crouch down? There's wake up, dash, super jump. Oh, you know what? We'll be able to see it on his normals. So a crouching jab will start at the crouching. Yeah, we'll start with crouching. So I think purple is the push box, right? Yeah, push box. So let's get rid of the green. We don't care about the attacks. We just want to see. Okay, we just want to see the thing here. Okay, so he does have a gap here. I'll try to zoom in so it'll be easier to see. There is a gap here. And Pocket Fighter EX does not do that. So if we look, like, there's a slight gap, but it's not nearly as big. Now, because when they crouch, there's not much difference between the crouching and the non-crouching height. I have to pull the hurt box down, otherwise stuff will hit that's not supposed to hit at that height. But yeah, this is gonna have to come down just a little bit, I think. Just enough. Otherwise things might not work out too correctly, so we can fix that real quick. All the crouching and the standing hitboxes are standardized, so they actually are one file that all characters will reference, and they currently do. I mean, unless there's big body types, so like Geef is probably going to have his own big body standard class. And some other characters might be taller, that might need them. But the basic idea is you want to standardize it as much as possible. So like, is it possible that like Geef and Alex, if they both were in the game, I'm not confirming anything obviously, but if we put Geef and Alex into the game, they might have the same big body hitbox. That depends on how their sprites come out, obviously. But if they were close enough, you could use the same one. So let's see, we've got fighters, common. So these are all the common files that the fighters share. So like armor max and clashing, screen shake files and settings, things like that. Knockdown animations. That's confirmation, no take back. I'll be honest, I would love if someone could make a really good looking Alex sprite sheet, I'd throw him in. I'll tell you that right now, I'd throw him in. Absolutely. For me, it's got to be Alex. If we're going to have a grappler from the Capcom side, it's got to be Alex. And he's got to be done right. Now, this Street Fighter V bullshit where he's missing half his fucking moves and he's so fucking low tier he can't do shit. They've sort of corrected that, but still, it's not... He's just not the same. He doesn't have that same feel of being that kind of, that middle ground. Like, he's a wrestler, sure, but he's got a lot of striking moves, too, and he's got a lot of good shit. And sure, he was low tier and, or maybe mid tier in Third Strike, too, but he was still a lot more fun to use in Third Strike than 5. He's had a very good pace and a very good flow about him that just completely messed that up in 5. So let's see, hitbox data, here we are. So here's crouch, normal body. And so if I think if I pause it, it will, oh crap, I gotta do that in the controller. There. It might update for me. I'm not sure, let's see. So we got, you're right, because he goes from standing to crouch, so there's one stand frame and one crouch frame worth of data here. So tag, stand, crouch, body space. So now it's not gonna update on me, but I'll advance it 1 frame so you can see. So I made it like ridiculously stupid huge, just so you can see the change in there. So it's 26 now, right? So let's try 23 and see what that looks like. I don't know if at all, actually I will zoom in here. I don't know if I have to be that much of a difference. It doesn't look bad though. What's 24 look like? 24 looks like that. I don't know, let's say 23. Yeah, how about that? And then, let's see, standing normal body is 32. So the crouching, of course, again, has that standing frame. So we got stand here. We want this, see, from 38, we want that to be 32 now. And so we'll have a consistent transition like that. So how about that? Looks all right. So make him, yeah, I can see that. Oh, because he's crouched, right. You can stand him up, of course. Yeah, and that's normal. If he doesn't stand up, that's not going to hit him. Let's see. That's not what I want. I'm trying to do, my dumb brain's not letting me do it. Trying to do jump in HK, like crouching LK, and then heavy Tatsu. Oop. Oop. Too late. There. Yeah, that'll hit. That'll hit. Yeah, that'll hit. It's just enough. I don't know if it makes a huge difference, especially because it's a crouching kind of thing, but I'm willing to go with Capcom's better judgment there and to make that consistently a little lower. You'll notice that those same hurt boxes are used for the hurt as well. They don't change. So the standing hurt boxes are the standing hurt frames, and the crouching are the crouching, etc., etc. So you can see that. Very consistent. Same thing for the air boxes. Oh, let me launch them up. They're always the same shape, no matter what orientation he's in, whether he's flipped around or not. And that's not something that Third Strike does, but the later games have done that kind of consistency, especially like 5, and I think KOF does the same thing. It just makes things a little easier to hit in the air, a little more understandable. So everything sort of behaves on a consistent manner, and I like that. I think that that helps out the game. It's not as realistic, quote unquote, but I think it just helps the playability and the understandability as a video game. You know, it just helps you get in there and understand it a little better. So yeah, at this point now I have to literally go through and do all the hitboxes again. But let's do another hitbox thing that's a little more fun. I can do that on my own time. I'm pretty sure you don't want to see me adjusting those all day. Let's look at frame data now. So here's something I wanted to address. Actually, I was in the middle of trying to address this before I had to take my break. My forced break. Forced hiatus. And it is the... Well, I'll show you. It's this move. I was trying to change the way that that worked, so to be a little more consistent. I don't think that was a true combo. So let's set them back to auto guard. Oh, that worked, yeah. That did work. There we go. Hey, hey, hey! Keanu is raiding with a party of 5. Well, thank you very much. I don't know if I have a notification for that. I didn't see anything pop up on screen. I'm probably out of date with those. I'll probably have to add that. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, this attack, I want to make it more versatile. Yeah, raid. I want to make it more versatile, and part of the idea was, let me pull this up, is that this could be something you could cover wake up options with in the corner especially, but to kind of get people when they're doing, when they're trying to jump after. See, then you can do something like that. That's kind of the idea. I didn't feel that this had very much use. On its own, it doesn't special cancel, because I think that would be too OP. But if you could use it as some sort of like wake up anti-air, or wake up jump protection, then you could grab them with some really good shit. If you get it too early, and they're in their pre-jump frames and it's on the ground, you can still do something. The idea is it's going to be plus enough to get something like that. And then if you hit them in the air, then you've got enough time to do some crazy bullshit with that too. So you can basically, if you hit it, the idea is that you know you got a Shoryuken waiting for you. But I don't know what the actual advantage is now. Like I said, because I changed some of the stuff and made it more consistent, I think the advantage is actually off on this. So let's actually look at that. We'll put frame info on. And that's got a new font now, and it's hard to read on this stage. I'm gonna have to change, like maybe, I don't know, make it darker or make it somehow stand out automatically against other backgrounds. Let's try it on this stage. It'll probably be a better way to view it. Okay. Actually, no, it's not, because it's all the blue. Okay, hold on. let's go to a stage that's not blue. This one's not blue. This will work. By the way, if you're wondering, it's Guilty Gear Music Night, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but they announced that Guilty Gear Strive's gonna have rollback netcode, by the way. So that's a hella win for, especially for like the Japanese devs who don't want to do anything new or add rollback or anything. ArcSys going in that direction, saying, hey, that was really cool, we're going to use that, is awesome. So I am very thrilled about that. Even if I'm not as enticed with the way that the game is shaping up in terms of like its comparison to the old games, or it looks a little toned down here and there, and it's its own thing. It's not going to be trash, absolutely not. But it's definitely going to be a different kind of experience. But I might give it a chance now. It's got rollback netcode. I'm just gonna put that out there. They've got me in the door. I think they've got my $60 for rollback. I have to support it, number one, because if it doesn't do well, they'll be like, oh, well, why the hell did we go through all that trouble then? So I think I'm just gonna support it either way, even if I end up not liking it, just to send the message of, hey, we need rollback. Rollback's good. Reward that shit. They listened. Don't let that shit slide. And I wouldn't. So I'm a little reluctant to say that, because I wouldn't necessarily say that that's something you should necessarily feel like doing. So like if you if you don't feel that way and you're like, no, I'm not going to play Strive at all, then that's up to you to make that decision whether or not you'd want to support it just because of the rollback. I don't think that there's necessarily a moral imperative there, but I feel strongly enough about it that, yeah, I'm putting my money down on that line to get that noticed. But I would say that it's not, like, don't feel bad if you don't feel that way, because it's definitely selfish is not the word. It doesn't make sense on paper to be like, oh, you might not like this, so why are you buying this for full price or whatever? I know there's probably a word for it, and I can't think about it because my brain's dumb. But that sentiment of, you don't have any moral imperative to support this just because of one thing, especially if like you think you might not like it. So I would be reluctant to say, hey, everybody go out and do this, but I will say that I will do that because that's how I feel about advancing the industry as a whole, or the genre, I guess. Because if that works good, then like Dragon Ball FighterZ 2 might have rollback. Think about that. You know, it's not just necessarily about, oh, do we want Guilty Gear to have rollback? It's no, do we want everything that ArcSys makes to have rollback? Do we want BlazBlue Tag with rollback? Do we want... No, they only publish Unist under Night. They only publish them, so it's not necessarily something that they probably have control over. But if French Bread, who makes Under Night, says, hey, ArcSys is doing all rollback on their shit and everybody's praising them, maybe we should do that too, you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, Capcom has rollback, but their rollback sucks, so it's not a good example. Like, ArcSys would look at that and be like, well, they got rollback and everybody hates it. What's the deal? You know what I mean? But because it was implemented wrong. And sure, certainly, you know, Marvel Infinite fixed that, but they never went back and fixed Street Fighter 5, but everybody knows that story. So I think, for me, I'm looking at it from for the better of the genre, I'm gonna put some money down. Whoa! Thank you, DecoStar, for that sub. That's awesome. Thanks. 3 months now. Nice. On a 1 month streak. Yeah, I know I've been gone for like a month and a half. Everybody's streak is gone. I haven't been here. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Hopefully I won't be gone again for another month and a half. I'm gonna stay healthy. I swear to God. I'm gonna stay on the good path, even if it kills my spirit and my heart to not work on it sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta rest and take care of yourself, and that's been a tough lesson to learn. But I think I've come to terms with that. So I shouldn't be missing for like 2 months again out of nowhere. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm dying. BRB 2 months. No, I wasn't dying. I'm just drumming up the dramatization. Yeah, there you go. I can't talk. It's fine. Whatever. Can't talk. But anyway, yeah. So I'm TLDR. I'm supporting Strive, even if I don't play it a single day. I'll if I get it, of course, I'll check it out just to see like what's up with it. But if I don't like it, I won't continue to play it just because. But I do want to support that rollback, and I really hope, because Garou, and that's the other thing. Like, I like Garou, like visually, and I kind of like the look of it and stuff. But I can't play Garou or shit, and it's not a game that I really jive with. But I still bought it, because it's like, SNK needs to understand people want this. And it looked like it was going pretty good, so hopefully they see that. And my ultimate goal is, they better put it in KOF 15. You know what I'm saying? If they put rollback in KOF 15 or 98, I'll take that too. In fact, I almost might prefer them to just put it in 98. Depending on how the game comes out, because the KOF games are always different every time that they come out. So who knows if I'll like 15, whatever it's going to be. But my ultimate goal is, yeah, put it in 98 and put it in 15, because, number one, I want the community to grow in those games. I think part of the reason at this point in time that some people pass up on it is they're like, oh, well, Sam Show's got delay-based netcode, and KO 14's got delay-based netcode for a game with you know, arguably very strict timing and, you know, big combos and all that stuff. And if you're going to have delay-based netcode with big combos and strict timing, there's a lot of potential failure points, you know, while you're playing. That's like, oh, you dropped that combo. Why? Because it's delay-based netcode, not because you didn't hit the combo. It's just because the netcode fucked up and it skipped a frame, and now you were off by just one frame, and now your combo's broken. You know, things like that, and that sucks. That doesn't reward players for getting to that high level with the execution and all that. Can just get thrown out the window by like a 2-frame lag spike, and that sucks. So I think KOF is one of the games that really needs netcode because of the way that it's played. Like 98, you could probably get away with it. And sure, you know, you got Fightcade and stuff, but if they could implement the Garou version of Codemystic's netcode into 98, what is there's UMFE, is it now? Because there's UM, the Unlimited match, but then there's like an updated version of that, which is FE, Final Edition or something. I don't have it yet, but I know it's out there. But if they update that game with that, hell yeah, I'm getting that shit and I'm gonna learn that game because that's good. It will play like a dream. I don't know. I guess I'll get off my goddamn soapbox. So this kick that I've been trying to talk about for a half hour. This kick, man, it's cancelable off of normals. They count as special moves. Same thing with this one. And they can chain into each other. If you start with this is the one, I'll turn on input view here. We start with the light kick one, that's this one. It will chain if you hit into the other one. So it's like a target combo. And then it's actually special cancelable. So, oh, that one won't hit, but you can do shit like that, which is really good because it's good. It's good combo stuffer. There, like that. So that's pretty good unmetered damage, to be completely honest. And then you can do all sorts of other shit after. So, you know, it is what it is. You can link supers off of it, you can do all sorts of shit. So you can do, let's see. Now that the frame data is screwed up, some of this might not work, but no, it's not gonna reach. I did it wrong anyway. And I did. Cancel it quite right. I gotta get close, because if you hit the second hit off of this, it's not gonna cancel. Only the first hit will. See, that's not going to cancel. You got to get that grounded hit in. Yeah, I fucked up. I don't know what I was doing there. Brain froze up. Anyway, so what I was going to show you, we needed the stage we could see the numbers on. We want to know the advantage here. And it's supposed to be currently... It's got to be at least a +3 because the Shoryuken hits after it. It links. If I can do it. There we go. The Shoryuken did link. And I think it can tell me the advantage after that. Zoom in on Ken. I don't know if that's going to hit. Oh yeah, it hits. Okay, it's a 1-frame link. This number here tells you how much stun was left when this thing hit. So you can just barely get that. Yeah, I saw it 1 frame. Yeah, it's 1. So that's the ideal situation here. You want to barely be able to hit it. So here's the thing, because of distance, that's not going to hit. Let's see. You're not going to hit that because the Shoryuken can't travel fast enough in 3 frames, or rather far enough in 3 frames to be able to hit that. And that's alright. I think that's a good counterbalance because otherwise it becomes a very strong confirm option out in the middle of nowhere. Because it's really what it's meant for now, what I want it to be meant for, is to do shit in the corner. Or, let's see, let me turn his auto guard off and make him jump. Oh, yeah, that's great. See, that doesn't work either. So it's more of a corner pressure. It's really what it's meant for. Come on. There you go. Let's say, stop jumping. That's what you're supposed to do, though. So when they're in the corner, oh, they're gonna jump. Well, I got them. You know, that kind of shit. Actually, I don't know if the frame data for the Flame version is the same. It might actually be different. Yeah, the animation looks different too. I think I was in the middle of adjusting that. But yeah, the idea is that you can get shenanigans off of them trying to jump to escape. But I figured that was sort of a weak point here in Ken's game. Because yeah, sure, you can keep him here and you can do sort of ground shenanigans, but you know, if you're mixing things up and they think you're not going to do that, or if you do something like this, what is it? You do an air to air, and you're gonna land at the same time, and you think they're gonna try to jump away or something like that. You know, you can use that. It's not like the greatest tool in the world, but I felt that it was something that Ken just kind of doesn't have. Like, sure you can, whatever, but it's super fucking unsafe. And then what are you gonna get off of that? You know, like you might, like max cancel it. Sure, you'll get something, I guess. But that's only if you're on the ground too. If you happen to hit them when they're in the air too high or whatever, then you're not going to get much. But here you get kind of like that confirm off of it, like, oh, I hit him. Oh boy, we're going. You get time to see it. You know what I mean? So it might, I think it'll be decently useful in some situations. I felt like it was something that he doesn't have, especially when I was seeing that Ken in Street Fighter V, he's got the Street Fighter 3 kick, and it doesn't seem to be good for too much. But one thing that it was good for in the corner, if they decide to jump to escape pressure or something, then you can, you know, do that in the air and then get some kind of combo off of it if you hit them in the air. So it's kind of the same idea. Because you can... Oh, come on. There we go. You know, I screwed it up. That was supposed to be an air tattoo. But you get the idea. There's some shenanigans that you'll be able to do with that kind of stuff. Now, in addition to that, so like I was saying before, that this is not going to necessarily convert into anything. Oh, let me put him back on auto guard. Because he's too far away, he can't hit it. But... hold on. If you're using EX, you can do it. So a little bit more of a safe combo instead of using a max. Then you can start to do some shenanigans there too. Because it's a very good confirm. You don't have to worry about it. You know. Let's see. I gotta do the EX. Wow, that didn't work. Did I not do it in time? Oh, it might be too far. If I do, yeah, if I do a crouching one, I bet it'll work. Hold on. Oh, come on. It's screwing me up. Yeah. So do a crouching fierce punch. That's what makes the difference there. Because that'll work, but this punch pushes you back pretty far. The crouching one doesn't. So you can do some shenanigan bullshit. Oh wait, no, hold on, no, I did. Yeah, like that. Do some shit like that. You know what I mean? So I think it'll have uses. It's a quick, you know, it's a confirmed thing. So if they did block it, like you can see it, it's slow enough that you can see it. And you can say, oh shit, I'm not going to do anything. Now they might be able to counter that depending on how minus it is. I don't remember what it ended up being at this point. But something like this, let's see, what would it look like with guard? That's not too terrible. You're far enough away that some stuff might not be able to hit. But again, I'd have to see how minus it is. It might be really fucking minus at this point. But if you made it a safe-ish option, then it might be, you know, something you might want to use. Because, you know, you have to use an EX to follow it up, sure, but, you know, the fact that you get that confirm off of it is, that's worth, you know, that's worth something. Like you can just see it. You don't even have to guess. You can see that that thing worked, or didn't. But I guess at that point you might be. Oh wait, hold on, I'll get a jump. You might be in a pickle anyway. Yeah, see, shit like that. Don't jump. You know. That's not what I want. Oh, I ran out of EX. Hold on. Give me some EX. Oh, he's gonna get dizzy anyway. Okay. You do shit like that. You can use it out in the middle of nowhere with that's funny, he blocked it. Yeah, if you get close enough, I think you can just do it from here. Yeah, you can do it if you're close enough, but if you're off a little bit, just use the EX and you can still get it, you know what I mean? Oh, wait, hold on, I'm jumping. Oh, I fucked that up. Again, I don't think the frame advantage on. Oh, that's fine. Controller just unplugged. I don't think the frame advantage on the max one is quite right. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, let me get him jumping again. Oop. No, it's not quite right. Oh, that's a glitch. That's a glitch. He doesn't unfire. If he's jumping, he doesn't. Terry, no. Terry, no, please don't. Don't burn up, man. That's funny. So if he touches the ground, I bet it was yeah, it's because he doesn't get knocked down. And he's getting the he's not standing, and he's not knocked down when he gets hit, so it stops the. It must. Trying to think of why that might happen. It might be a hit stun thing where hit stun doesn't fully unregister unless you completely land. I don't know. So he gets knocked down, then hit stun expires. And he goes into the get up animation and it stops, which makes sense. Huh. But yeah, here. Yeah, and as soon as he lands for good, it stays. That's funny. I'll have to make note of that. So as far as calibration goes, I think whatever frame advantage it's on must be a +4. No, it would be +3 because... No, I'm sorry, it is +4. No, actually might be higher. I'm not sure if this is +4 or +5, the fierce one. This one's +4. It's gonna be impossible to tell here. because it pushes them too far away for the light to hit. Yeah, I don't know. Alright, we'll just look at the numbers instead of guessing. Where are we here? We've got... not that one. Oh, where's the other one? I got so much shit open. Oh yeah, duh. Here. What am I doing? You can tell I'm tired. Maybe I shouldn't have come back. I'm all messed up still. No, it's fine. So if we go to Ken's hitboxes specifically, and we're going to go to Special Kick H. Here's V2. Yeah, this is the new one that I'm working on. So I didn't erase the old file. I'm just working off of the new one to test these things. Okay. Okay, those are if it was 2 hits, but we're not doing that. I was experimenting with a 2-hit version like Super Turbo has, but it didn't seem right. Okay. So, no, it is +3. It is +3. Really? I thought that Shoryuken Heavy had a 4-frame startup. Again, maybe the hit advantage stuff is off. Let's see, it thinks it has 21 frames of recovery. Let's make sure that's actually true. Special... oh no, I've got it. No, I'm kidding. My throat's just dry. I probably will end up getting it. They're making us work through all this bullshit, so I really hope I don't. Yeah, exactly. That's the goal. Please don't want to be in that situation. All right. So from the moment of hit, hold on. Where is Ken's? Okay, I have to open hit system controller. There we go. Now we got the boxes. Oh, let me reset their positions. Okay. So from here, the first hit is here on frame 10, and it goes all the way to frame 30. Okay. So, yeah, is that exactly on 30? Okay, yeah, so the recovery is off. So this happens to start at frame 10 and end at frame 30. That's 20 frames of recovery. Not 21. I knew the math wasn't right there. So if we go back here and we say that it has 20 frames of recovery, then we will find out here the hard way. Oh, wait, hold on. Put auto block on. That don't work anymore. So, what we have to do is make this +4 to make that work. And I can do it. That was possible before. Hold on. Whoop, I keep hitting the wrong one. Okay, so that does work. Now that everything's in the right frame count. Yeah, so that works. Yep. And so... oh wait, right, this doesn't work because it's not supposed to. Yeah, but that has to use the EX, so I can get that to work. EXs are really, right now, they don't have tolerance on pressing the buttons at different times, so you have to literally press it same frame to get it to work. Which is a little easier when you're trying to link it like this, but it's still a pain in the ass. So yeah, okay, so it's working as intended, but we do have the correction on the recovery. And that's important because if it thinks that it's 21 and it's 20, then there's an offset of 1, so it's safer by 1 frame than it really says on paper. And you know, if I'm looking at it quick and I don't realize that that's the case, you can make a decision to change something, and all of a sudden stuff connects when it's not supposed to connect, or it's safer than it really is, or should be rather, safer than it should be. So yeah. Yeah, I like that. Nope. I get the EX. Nope. Not an EX. Not an EX. That one I didn't even press the buttons. You get the idea. Oh, not so bad at it. I really gotta put that. I gotta put that EX tolerance in there so that you can get the 2 buttons. Cause see, I hit the buttons at different times. It was off by only 1 frame. You can tell. This tells you how many frames this input lasted until the next one. See, every time I hit it, it stops. So I hit them a frame apart, but that's. What was it? What did I? Oh wait, no, that was the power max command. Hold on. Yeah, but I hit them C frame apart here too. That one's actually too early. That's my bad. That wouldn't work at all. Should that have worked? Oh yeah, no, that was a Shoryuken, right? Yeah. Here, down, and then diagonal. Yeah. I was looking at this, I'm like, wait, that doesn't look right. But yeah, no, that's fine. That lined up on the frame it should have been. Yeah. So yeah. That's my idea for that move. Because otherwise, this didn't seem to have too much of a use, to be honest. I also made it step in a bit more, and it's a little faster than it used to be. It's definitely not something to do in neutral. It's, as you can see, the get it. Yeah, damn it. As you can see, the hitbox here, it's not very advantageous, so it's not something you want to throw out there. It can actually get stuffed without even being hit, and that is kind of by design. It's not meant to be something thrown out there. It's not particularly long enough to say, hey, you're gonna go over crouched attacks or whatever, especially since you step in a little bit with it. You're probably gonna get hit in most cases. It's really just a confirm tool, you know, in cases like this. It's really all it's good for. You don't want to throw it out there without it being buffered by something else. Because again, the special cancelable, it's supposed to be used off of something else. So it's supposed to be just combo filler and that confirm tool. So, you get the idea. Hopefully. Hopefully I've got the right idea. Don't forget, this is the Scrub channel. Maybe I'm full of shit, you don't know. I don't know. I'm full of shit and I don't know. Yeah, I haven't played this in so long. Yeah, baby, that's what I like. Shit like that, that's fun. So, I mean, other than that, everything's performing pretty normally. I did break the rollback system a little bit. The animations don't resume where they're supposed to, but I've kind of put that stuff... Yeah, get good, Scrub King. Look, King of the Scrubs is only as good as any other Scrub. That's just how it works. Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
Off time.
It's getting there.
No, what now?
I got two tracks left. I started late. I started like 10 minutes late. So it's going.
You know the deal.
I know, it's on a timer. Going. She's trying to keep me healthy. Make sure I don't overextend myself.
Get off at a reasonable hour or I start telling embarrassing stories.
No.
Well, better be a good boy and listen.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to sleep anyway. I'm tired. It's killing me, man. It's killing me. It's Monday. It's Monday. Do you know what it's like to go to work on Monday and then stream?
It's alright, baby. We won't have jobs soon.
Yeah. I'll probably be laid off next week anyway, so who gives a fuck?
Praise the Lord.
Dox him, Amber. Now dox him.
Will Larry? I assume it was Larry.
Yeah, it was.
I know Larry's comments.
I know. You can pick him right out. He's got that unique style.
Yeah, proper grammar.
Aww. That's something we don't understand in Kentucky.
Shut up, I do.
I do, but I'm not from here.
Well, I am.
Oh, okay.
You marvel all the time. You're like, how
I know.
can you read and write so good?
I don't know if you can hear her or not. She's like, I marvel all the time. How the fuck can you read and write so good? But everybody else here is like, they just omit words. Like at work in emails, it's just like words are missing out of this sentence. Like, did they think the word and not type the word? I don't know what's going on here. Or they'll use like the wrong word. And I'll be like, I think I can piece this together, but I'm not really sure what they're saying. And some of it's just like, you know, they forget an it or the or something, and it's like, okay, you can fill the gaps in. But sometimes it's like, I have no idea what the hell that person just typed. That's one of those, yeah, I guess I could just call them and talk to them. Hopefully they can talk without the words missing.
Shut up. I always left really good tickets for IT.
Oh, I never got one of yours, but I work.
Well, yeah, you don't handle different, what I do.
Yeah, I don't handle the normal stuff. So it's just.
Yeah, you don't gotta like fix my email account or issue me a new mouse.
What'd you do? Break your fucking mouse?
No, just when I first. That was an example, jackass.
Oh, okay. I was like, really? You went there and broke your fucking mouse?
No, fuck you. They gave me an old Apple mouse at one of the schools I worked at.
Oh,
so
yeah. Yeah. Well. Was it one of the ones that only has one click?
Yes. You just click it right or left. It doesn't need two buttons. Simplicity.
Oh, no, but it does register 2 buttons.
It does, yeah.
It does. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, the old ass Apple mice did not have 2 buttons at all. Like, it, not 2 physical buttons, like, it just did not register anything but a single click. So they finally caught up with the times. It's nice to know. She's flipping me off. You can't see
Get off the fucking stream or slap that fucking water bottle right out of your hand.
No, shut up. I'm thirsty.
Uh-huh.
Let's go on. We got one more.
I want to tell you what the big man told Starbucks. Shove it up your ass. Show's over.
Yeah, the big man. Big man's great. Did we talk about Big Man on Sunday?
A little bit.
Yeah, we did. Big man's great. The kid from Brooklyn.com is this big fat. Well, he said he lived in Jersey, but he grew up in New York, so he's a New Yorker. You can tell as soon as he starts talking, and he's just going off about Starbucks. Poor bastard's dead now. God rest his soul. But he used to make all these fucking, it's just funny shit videos. Like, I don't know. I never noticed it as being all that strange because I'm from New York, but like everybody else is like, you always yelling about stuff. You New Yorkers are always just going off about shit. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we do. It's normal, right? No, it's not normal. It's not normal at all. I like that I basically accomplished nothing today on stream. Just talking about dumb shit.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Makes you feel better.
It does. It's just, it's the warm-up stream.
Wasn't
I'm getting back to it.
hurtful to anything. It's okay.
That we noticed or know about. It's New York normal.
Oh, but maybe it hurt the boomers' internet. The Hollywood boomers' internet.
It's New York normal, Larry says.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. It really is.
I think Mark's dad, one minute he could be yelling like, "Ah, God damn it! Why the fuck did you do that, you moron?" Oh, you know you're the light of my life, son. That's Mark's dad.
that's a dramatization.
I love his dad. His dad's great. He's never been anything but good to me, but his dad's just really New York is my point. But I love his dad, but he's really New York.
Yeah, I never really realized it. Most of the time, most of my life, I pretty much, I've been to Canada, which is New York too, and I've been to Florida, which is southern New York. It's New York, but it's in the south for some reason. It's just, and for the longest time, it was like the only places that I've ever really traveled to, so I'm like, oh, every place is like New York. I just don't know any better. Then I come here and I'm like, wow, everybody's like different and friendly, and that's weird. People can be friendly.
The first time you visited, every time we went to a store, like gas station, Walmart, whatever, we'd walk out and get in the car and he'd be like, wow, everybody's so nice. Everybody wants to talk to you. People only wanted to talk to you in New York if they were going to mug you.
Yeah, pretty much. If some random dude on the street just comes up to you and starts talking to you, you're like, am I getting robbed? Because why are you talking to me? Are you going to rob me? It's like you putting your hands in the pocket, you're grabbing your keys, you're like, all right, well, he's probably got a knife, but you know, if I hit him hard enough with my keys, maybe he'll back off. And here it's like, no, they just want to talk to you, and that's weird. That's weird.
Yeah, humanity's weird, honey. I get it.
Shut up. New York's the only thing in the world. That's all I know.
I know, you don't know no better.
I don't know no better. I just know New York. New York normal. It really is like that, though. It's like some dude walks up to you on the street out of nowhere, and like the first thing in your mind's like, what does he want? And if it doesn't look like he wants anything, then he wants your wallet. And that's pretty much it. And then now you're in a like do or die situation. It really be like that. It's messed up. Cause I felt that way. I was on lunch break or whatever, and this dude was looking for somebody, and he's come up. He's like, "Hey, do you know so and so?" And I'm like, "Oh, here we go. I'm getting robbed." Look at this Kentucky street. I'm getting robbed. There's nobody around. Dude targeted me. Just walks up. Hey, do you know so and so? Or no, he asked if I was that person, and then he asked if I knew him, and I'm like, oh, this is suspicious. This is definitely not a normal situation. But no, he wanted to find that person. He just actually wanted to know who, or he wanted to meet that person. It was really weird, and I'm like, okay. It's actually what he said he was looking for.
Whoa. You're telling me human beings want to have genuine conversations sometimes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, look, people in the South really like conversations.
Yeah, tell them, Jazz Man.
They're just like, hey, what's up? It's like, hey, what's up? I was in the war, and like, my life was like this, and all this shit, and it's like, okay, like what the fuck? Like they just front load their entire life story. As Larry says, every encounter involves concealed carry. Be nice. Yeah, ain't that the truth here? Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, that's probably why nobody walks up on the street trying to mug you, because you'll just get fucking shot.
Well, yeah, it's either concealed carry or open carry. You just have to assume everybody has a gun.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like, all the time in Lowe's when I go in there to get discount paint, like, there's inevitably some grandpa with, like, packing heat openly, because you can do that here.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen some guy in Walmart carrying a fucking gun. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh, wait, right. I'm in the South. This is normal now.
No, I just saw some old dude with, like, a full-on Wyatt Earp mustache and a plaid button-up with a side pack, holstered.
Yeah.
And holding his grandson's hand, just walking in. The grandson's like, hey, Papa, can I have this? And he's like, no, you got that at home. Verbatim.
That's funny. Oh, God, it reminds me of that meme. It's like you've got, we've got X at home.
Yeah,
and then it's like, then it's some bootleg version of whatever it is.
No, legit. The kid asked for something. I can't remember what it was. He's like, "Papa, can I have that?" Mm-hmm. And the grandpa was like, "No, you got that at home. You know better." Like real no fucking nonsense.
That's funny. That's funny. That really is. It's just people are so different here, but of course to them it's not different. I'm the different one. I'm the weird one. Like I had to tell people at work, I'm like, if I don't make eye contact with you, or like I sound curt or rude, I'm like, it's just a New York thing. Don't like take it to heart. Like I'm not deliberately ignoring you or trying to like, you know, shoo you away. Like it's just a New York thing. Your conversation is shorter. Unless, you know, like with your friends, you can have big conversations, sure. But like somebody that you don't see very often, you're just like, yeah, all right, how you doing? Whatever. Boom, done. Like, you know, the general idea is like, why are you still at my desk? What do you want?
Well, Mark used to yell at me in New York because he'd be like, you're telling too much information. You're talking to people too much. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing wrong. I really don't.
Yeah, like people... I wouldn't say they necessarily get nervous about it, but they'll just be kind of like, why are they still talking in New York? It's like, do they still want something? Like, what's going on? Like, you know, that's the attitude that kind of prevails up there, and it's definitely not like that here. Here, it's like you find some old grandpa on the lunch line, and you're hearing about his like second fucking wife and how he went to war.
Yeah, we went to a wedding down here, and this grandpa latched on to Mark, talked to him for like 2 hours.
Yeah, he just gave me his whole fucking life story. And you know, I was like, not necessarily trying to be like rude, but by Kentucky standards, that probably was rude. But I was just the general New York thing of, you know, like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then just like, you know, that's the end of the conversation for me. And then he'll come back like 5 minutes later and then just start continuing and just keep doing that over and over until he's told me his life fucking story.
He picked his wife up at a restaurant or something.
God, I don't even fucking remember. I don't remember it was the war.
He got there was a war. He got in like a fist fight with a biker.
It's like this whole fucking life story.
He had tattoos. Something, you know?
Okay, we're on the last track, so we gotta wrap it up. That's the end. So no, it was fun to come back. It was fun to do the stream again. I absolutely miss working on shit. So sorry, it was kind of a wacky stream. But we'll be a little more on target next time, I guess. I'll have to figure out. I have to figure out how much I can realistically work on now, you know, considering the circumstance. And then kind of like meter myself out. And then we'll see. Maybe I'll get some stuff done this week, and then we can kind of have an update next Monday about what went on. Or maybe we'll do an animation or something if I have nothing super interesting to show for coding stuff. So we'll just play it by ear. We'll do it that way. So that's pretty much it. We've got patrons to read off. So the awesome super squad that's been sticking with me even though I've been sick, which I absolutely it's mind-blowing how nice and generous people can be and understanding. So everybody gets a fucking shout out today because it's you guys stuck with me all this time even when there was nothing getting produced. You know, it really, how do I want to put it? It shows that you really care. And that's very, God, well, I'm trying to find the words. I can't find the words because I'm stupid. It makes me feel appreciated, and there's really kind people out there, I guess. This is a terrible explanation, but that's the only thing that's just coming through my mind. So everybody gets fucking shout out today, right from top to bottom. So we've got Zombie Killer, we got Miguel Tabasco, they're our super top patrons. You got Mike Cruz, got Taryn Williams, got Corporal Chungus, got Bryce Nugalinum, got AJ, got D Money 107, and LD Walker. So thank you guys super extra very much, and hopefully we'll be having more of a regular schedule. So next Monday absolutely we'll be back, and that is the 30th. So still March. We're getting there. And so we got the Patreon links down below for that. You got perks, code samples, advanced builds. I'm gonna have to get an advanced build up this week since I'm back at it. And we've got the Discord. I'll put the link for that in the chat here, or it'll be down below if you're looking on YouTube, or now LBRY. Don't forget about LBRY, the better YouTube alternative. And because they're not demonetizing and striking my channel every 5 fucking seconds. So we got that. Discord's down below, link down there if you're watching the recording. And that is pretty much it. I'm on Twitter, other stuff. Links down below, etc., etc. So I'll see you guys next Monday. Sunday we're gonna do Resident Evil Gaiden. We're gonna finish that because we did like half of it, I think, Amber and I. So we'll try to finish that up. That was a special donated game. So we'll do that on Sunday. And that's pretty much it, I guess. I'm trying to find chat now. So everything's disappearing. There. Okay. Alright, I'll see you guys later. I gotta go to bed. Amber's gonna yell at me if I don't get off. So, you know, that's how it goes. But that's fine. She does it out of love, and she does it for the right reason. So, scrub out. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one, and adios.